might have to recuse myself from one HAC thing. Kevin, if Bonnie's not going to be here, I'm going to turn it over to you to run that portion of it, if that's okay.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Which item is it going to be?
Blah, 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 blah. 28 Post Street.
28 Post Street. Okay.
I should give Mark a call.
He's here, Sue. I just promoted him.
Is he, I'm not seeing him yet.
I just promoted him.
Okay.
He's showing up now. I see Dennis Larios in the attendees too. Is he's
He's here.
going to
he's
be
here with
speaking,
the
or do
Estonian.
you want me
Yeah.
to?
Yeah.
Might as well promote him. just in
Dennis,
case.
Dennis probably will be speaking. Yes.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, I'm going to start recording. Looks like we're all here. Okay, good evening. Thank you for joining the City of Kingston Heritage Area Commission and Historic Landmark Preservation Commission for a joint monthly meeting of each respective commission. Today is Thursday, February 3rd, 2022. My name is Suzanne Cahill, Planning Director and host for our virtual meeting. Kyla D-Day, the Assistant Planner, will be co-host this evening. Before we begin our meeting, we would like to go over a few meeting guidelines to help navigate the system as efficiently and respectfully as possible. We are now using the Zoom webinar-based format, so all commissioners and applicants have received specific joining instruction as panelists. As panelists, you will be visible and able to speak once arriving at the meeting. Guests will have the option to use chat and can be unmuted or muted. All guests will be present as view-only attendees unless we promote them to panelists, at which time they will be visible and able to be heard. As host, I reserve the right to mute anyone who unmutes themselves. Commission members and city staff will control their own mute button. Good practice would be to mute yourself if you are not speaking to avoid background noise and feedback. If a commissioner or staff wishes to speak, they will raise their hand. As the host, either I or the chair will call on them before they speak by stating their name clearly for our audio listeners and transcript recording. All of our meetings are recorded. Both video and written transcriptions will be available to the public on the city website at a later date. Also note this meeting is being live streamed on the city's YouTube channel. In lieu of public speaking, we requested all comment to be received by 2 p.m. on Tuesday, February 1st, 2022. Comments will have to be emailed to skhill@kingston-ny.gov, hand delivered, placed in regular mail or in Dropbox at City Hall. No comments were submitted. All meeting materials, applications, and supporting documentation may be found on the city website by going to www.kingston-ny.gov. Once on the homepage, scroll down to the bottom under meetings where you see the joint meeting posted. Click on the appropriate link for the meeting agenda and materials. If at any time you have an audio issue, you may send a text message to the following number, 845-443-0416. I will repeat the number again, but be aware that phone calls will not be answered during the meeting. The number again to text is 845-443-0416. As the host for today's meeting, I reserve the right to lock and pause the meeting, to eject anyone who has behaved inappropriately, or to enter into attorney-client conference if needed. On behalf of the commissions, I wish to thank everyone for your continued patience during this unique time and wish you and your family good health. I will now call the meeting to order at 6:38 p.m. and I'll turn the floor over to Chairman Hayes Clement for the HAC, who will be followed by HLPC Chairman Mark Grumblatt to introduce their respective commissions and to consider adoption of the most previous meeting minutes. Hayes, you're up.
Thank you, sir. Clement. I am the chairman of the Heritage Area Commission, and I am also a member of the Historic Landmarks Preservation Commission. It looks like we have a quorum, but I am going to call the roll for members of the Heritage Area Commission. I'm Hayes Clement. I'm present. Nettie Morano. Can't hear you.
Oh, I'm here.
Janet Marr.
Here.
Dean Barnes.
Present.
Kevin McAvoy.
Present.
And I'll note for the record that Bonnie Howland and Michael Del Prior are absent, but we do have a quorum, so I'm going to officially convene the February 3rd meeting of the Heritage Area Commission. First order of business for Heritage Area Commission members is the adoption of the minutes of our January 6, 2022 meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? Are there any questions or suggested amendments to the minutes as presented? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of January 6, 2022?
Dean Barnes, so moved.
I hear a second.
Nettie Morano, second.
Nettie Morano, second. Thank you. Any further debate? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Nettie Morano.
Aye.
Janet Marr.
Aye.
Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
The ayes have it. The minutes are approved. Mark, I'll turn it over to you.
Good evening. I'm Mark Grunblatt. I chair the Historic Landmark Preservation Commission. I'd like to take this opportunity to call the roll for our members as well. Hayes Clement.
Present.
Nettie Morano.
Present.
Andrea Bornholp-Hughes.
Present.
Kevin McAvoy.
Present.
Robert Tonner.
Present.
All right, so we too have a quorum. I'll move to our first order of business, approval of the January 6th minutes for our commission. Has everyone had a chance to review? Are there any amendments or clarifications that you feel are needed? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as submitted. Thank you, Hayes. Thank you, Hayes, for the motion. Robert. Thank you, Robert, for the second. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the roll. Hayes.
Aye.
Nettie.
Aye.
Andrea.
Aye.
Kevin.
Aye.
Robert.
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. Do you want to take the January 10th minutes, Hayes, and I'll come back when you're done?
There's also minutes from January 10th public hearing to consider. Has everyone had a chance to review those? Any suggested amendments? Do I hear a motion to approve the January 10th public hearing minutes?
Dean Barnes, so moved.
Thank you, Dean. Do I hear a second?
Nettie Morano, second.
Thank you, Nettie. That motion's on the floor. Any further debate? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Nettie Morano,
Aye.
Mar,
Aye.
Barnes,
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy. Kevin McAvoy. Can you turn?
The mute was off. Yeah. Aye. Yeah, we're good.
You guys have it. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you, Hayes. For Historic Landmark Preservation Commission, has everyone had a chance to review the minutes of January 10th? All right, are there any suggested amendments or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of our January 10th meeting as submitted.
So moved, Robert.
Thank you, Robert. Do I hear a second?
Second, Hayes.
Thank you, Hayes. I'll call the roll. Hayes,
Aye.
Nettie,
Aye.
Andrea,
I have to recuse myself. I was not present at the meeting. I wasn't supposed to be present at the meeting as my office is client for why the public hearing took place.
recusal noted. Thank you. Kevin,
Aye.
Robert,
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. Okay. First order of business is
Mark? Mark,
yes.
This is Sue. I just want to introduce also Matthew Jankowski is with us. Matthew is the new Assistant Corporation Counsel for the City of Kingston. So I just wanted to introduce him.
Oh, evening. Great to meet you, Matt.
It's nice to meet you all.
Okay. First order of business is the Kingstonian. That was the subject of our special meeting on the 10th. There's been a fair amount of correspondence submitted in connection with this. I hope everyone's had a chance to look it over. I'm going to see if HLPC members have questions based on the public hearing and whatever other information you gleaned from what's online for our applicants.
Mark, do we just want to introduce Mike Moriello is here. He's the attorney for the applicants, and Scott Dutton is the architect. Maybe give Scott an opportunity to just give a brief update on some, maybe some new submissions that they are working on.
That would be great. Also, I see that Dennis Larios, who's the engineer, is on with us.
And note for the record that Andrea Putz is recused.
Thank you. So noted. All right, Scott, if you want to sort of summarize your submission and bring us up to date on what you feel is coming next.
Sure, but before I do, Mike, did you want to say anything?
No, I'm all set, Scott. Take it away.
Okay, great. Kyla, if I just do the share screen, we'll.
Yeah, I think you're going to share yours, right?
Correct.
Not me. Do you have the capability, Sue?
Yeah, I'm going to switch him right
Oh,
now.
okay.
There you go, Scott.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm not going to take the board through the same presentation that we've made at the last two meetings. I think everyone's familiar with them, but I'll use it as a backdrop to share with the board that recently we submitted paint colors. We've also submitted a document in response to the city zoning code, zoning law, section 405-64B and 405-64C, a response to all of the anticipated questions. I believe that that's been circulated, Sue, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it has.
Okay. And also want to share with the board that over the last month, since the public hearing, I've had the opportunity to field a number of suggestions. And let me just switch files here. I'll pull up. And it's our intention to respond to those suggestions and have new materials that are not significant design changes, but more refinements that have come out of the public process, and things that I've commented on previously, that we would return the brick material into the parking garage entrance and enhance that experience. We are looking at alternatives to the storefront entrances here, and with maybe perhaps an awning detail. We have the renderer working on this now. We're exploring the possibility of pushing the doors back a little bit to create a little bit more of a three-dimensional response there. We will have to the planning, well, to Sue's office for HLPC's consumption, another rendered view from the sidewalk that we think will better describe what's happening at this corner element here. We will be submitting materials, sample materials, by the end of this week. I'm hoping to have everything into City Hall by Wednesday or Thursday at the latest, with material samples, actual paint color samples, a light fixture that is sample that just arrived this week that will be depicted in the updated renderings at each one of the pilasters. You know, refinements that are normal and customary for the process at this level of development. Here we go. I would say the most significant design refinement that we're exploring right now is to enhance the amount of fenestration at the corner here. The renderer is working as we speak to remove some of this brick, to introduce more glass here, all in an attempt to respond to comments that have come out of the public process. With that, I would say that I came tonight to listen more than talk, and I will stop talking and start listening.
Hayes, you have an initial comment?
Yeah, I was going to say, I very much like that idea, Scott, of creating at least a small alcove at those street level storefront things. I think that would go a long way to adding a little bit of dimension to the facade. And also it would, you know, every single, I guess, going east on North Front, all those other storefronts have that sort of recessed alcove doorway effect. So I think that would be very nice. And I'd have to maybe see the renderings of an awning, but that sounds good too. And that would at least would echo a little bit of the Pike plan, maybe.
Yeah, let me clarify. When I say awning, what we're thinking about is something, an awning element that's more part of the storefront system than a traditional cloth awning. And I'll be reviewing renderings later tomorrow, and we'll be working throughout the weekend to try and get something that's ready for consumption. But I thought it was a great suggestion that came out of the public process, and we're enthusiastic about it.
Correct.
I want to also point out that I think the idea of getting some extra depth in that facade is a really good idea, especially since it needs to knit into both North Front and Wall Streets as best we can. So anything that can provide an echo of those storefronts, even down Wall Street, would be, I think, an improvement over the straight facades. So I'm really happy to hear that. Also, in asking for materials, are you going to have brick samples and paint swatches for us to take a look at?
Paint swatches, absolutely. Brick samples are tough. We think that the renderings bring truth to what we're proposing, and hope that the board can see the colors and textures here. If you look at the Schwenk Drive elevation, you see we have a lighter brick back there. But due to supply chain issues and the fact that the brick order would be something like 2 years out, that's a real challenge for us to actually have a physical brick.
What about brick sizing? We had an interesting argument over European sizes at one point with the Irish Cultural Center. Is this going to be standard US size brick?
Standard brick, not jumbo brick.
Okay. All right. Any members of HLPC who are not recused who have additional questions?
Yeah, I think I do.
Kevin.
Yeah, okay.
Please.
Okay, there's, one of the things that came out of the public comments and that I had struck me early on, and I don't think I brought this up before, but is there any chance to move the parking entrance at the head of Wall Street, just have all the parking come in the other side from Schwenk Drive? I mean, it looks to me like you're losing some really valuable retail space or the opportunity for a visitor center for the Stockade District, which we used to have on Clinton Avenue back in the day. Just a thought. I don't know if that.
Well,
Yeah.
This board's known me for coming on 24 years now, and you know that I'm not one to say no very often, but the short answer is no. It's absolutely essential that there be access to the public parking garage from the Uptown District, in our view. And from a traffic standpoint, there's only one place that can be, and it's something that the planning board looked at when initially reviewing the project. I think the benefit to the community of having visitors to Uptown Kingston have clear access to that parking garage is paramount. But it's an essential component of the project.
And Scott, I would add to Kevin that was something that the planning board vetted during their seeker determinations and their review of the traffic information. So I don't know that it's something that is really at the purview of this board, these commissions at this time.
Yeah, that's why I asked the question. I wasn't. It's just a question. Yeah. I don't want to overstep bounds. No, not at all.
But speaking of public comment, there were some good. There was another comment that was made by Marissa Marvelli, and it was about the glass and the reflective nature of the look of the glass on the images that we've been presented with. Scott, do you want to speak to that?
Sure, certainly. And I apologize for the renderings showing a very reflective glass. As anybody that knows about this process can confirm, that there are a million inputs that you can put into creating a rendering, and you could spend months perfecting a rendering. The design intent is for clear glass. We will be required to have a low E coating. This is a south-facing facade. The developers have bought into a sustainability goal, so we will need a low E coating, which creates a slight tint to the glass, a bluish tint, but it will be non-reflective, and that is something that I can affirm tonight and could certainly be written into a decision.
Would it be possible for you to give an example of that we could inspect at City Hall?
Yes. You know, as I thought about some of the questions and comments that have been presented to me over the last couple of weeks, I thought, you know, Energy Square has a couple of perfect examples of what, for instance, a precast lintel looks like in a masonry unit. Now, the brick color that we're proposing here is slightly warmer than the brick tone that we used at Energy Square. But when you look at some of the detailing, this element here with a lintel and a sill as a precast true masonry unit can be seen at Energy Square. The same is true with the cornice elements, where you can see that we're proposing the same type of system, which were large 8-foot sections of cornice elements meant to be painted that were put in place. True masonry. So where I can obtain a physical sample and have it at City Hall this next week, I absolutely will. Where I can't, I think I can point to examples in this community, projects that we were involved with, that that board members can actually see how they are manifested in real life.
I think that's especially important since we have to do so much of our review so far virtually. To be able to actually see something in action would be a huge help to giving everyone a fair shake on the design. So yes, I'd appreciate that, Scott. Whatever you can provide physically would be great. If you can't, point us with some detail so that we know exactly what we're looking for on each building you might point us to.
Yep. No, I would take, I'm thinking out loud here that I could take a couple of photographs of Energy Square and have arrows pointing to specific elements that would be similar. And the precast elements are a perfect example. The cornice is a perfect example. We'll have a slightly different profile, but if one wants to see how that looks and feels as a material and texture, there is a unique opportunity for us here. Something else that, as a self-critique, that the team noted after the public hearing is that the doors in the storefront assembly rendered as mill finish aluminum, where everything else is a dark bronze. The doors are in fact intended to be the dark bronze, so we'll be providing a minor refinement update to make that very clear. You know, you could go on forever with these renderings. It's a blessing and a curse.
Scott, can we talk about like the roofing materials for a little bit? You know, on the hotel structure, that looks like just like an asphalt shingle, but it looks like it has some kind of more of a design to it rather than just a straight, you know, rectangular type shingle. Am I seeing that correctly, or is that just the way it's showing?
That's a function of the rendering, but I can certainly provide a shingle board. I wouldn't have thought to bring a shingle board this week, but I can do that. That would be probably a GAF architectural shingle. Charcoal gray, I think, is what we've represented here.
And on the other side with the brick building, the roofing over the areas that jut out, I'm trying to think of what to call them. Those, yeah. Is that like going to be a metal roofing, or will that be a shingle there?
No, we were thinking that a metal accent would be nice there.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think, again, it goes back to in the process. I think back to 10 years ago and the tools that we had available to us in presenting to the boards. Now with technology, we can show more and more and more and more and more, almost to the point that the renderings get beyond the process.
Right.
And they look too real, as if there's that much intention. With anyone that's involved in the design fields or has an appreciation for it, you'll know that over the arc of a design process, in this case, a 9-month process, certain things need time to kind of work their way out. But I can say that the intention is metal there. And today, when we had a meeting with the renderer, we started, talking about these pretty persnickety little details of what's the light fixture look like. And when you get to that level, you can justly critique this and you can say, oh, it's going to be that much better. It's going to look that much more real. But looking back a few years, we never got to that level of detail,
right,
in presentation. So there are incredible opportunities that we have available to us to perfect these things, but we've also gotten, I think, in the design field and in the approvals process, we've kind of gotten out over our skis in the level of expectation. So that's my soapbox moment.
Okay.
Thank you for that insight into architecture today. My question is, it seems that the colors on the what is going to be replacing the Herzog's warehouse have been toned down. Was there a reason behind that, or is this always the intent and it wasn't expressed properly before?
Well, that's a function of rendering software. I will tell you that you can pick Monterey White HC27, apply that to the facade, and depending on the time of day, the day of the year, the orientation of the sun, and a million other inputs that my associate Andrea could opine about for hours, the image that comes out can vary widely. So I think that it's a clear intention to create a more muted response in terms of the paint colors. I think it's a great suggestion that was made to us to actually bring the physical samples. 2 years ago, we would have had the physical samples in front of the board. There's a certain softness that we're going for here, and understanding that this is a south-facing facade. In the rendered views, it shows whiter and brighter than the intended color.
Okay, yeah. So having those swatches could be important for us. Thank you.
Yeah, and I will make sure that you have more than just a small little chip. I'll get
Thank
larger
you. That was going to be my next request, that we don't get the 1 inch by 1 inch little squares. I guess
Hayes, I'd like to recognize Hayes if I could.
Sure.
While we're on the colorway, particularly for the hotel building, I applaud what you've done in going to a more muted palette. I strongly prefer that than what was originally shown with the red and the white, all that.
All right, does any member of the commission have questions about the plaza, the stairway, the portion of the project facing Schwenk Drive? We haven't hit those in the same kind of detail because they don't face the rest of the district, but we haven't. There were a few, actually there seemed to be fewer comments about that at the public hearing, but I think we've got more detail now than we did a while back. And does anyone have additional questions they want to put to the developers?
Just one question. It goes back to the mapping, and it came out when I was reading the SHPO distribution letter this morning. In our local district, I'm not referring to the SHPO district, the national state district, but the local district, the area past the Kingstonian building proper, and I'm going to call it the old diner parcel, for lack of a better term. There was a zoning lot merger there, right?
Yes.
Now, the intent was to bring everything under the same zoning, but I don't believe it brought it into the landmark district, at least as far as the mapping that I'm looking at. Right?
No, when they did that lot line deletion and the zoning change, it was just to bring the commercial and the mixed use overlay district was brought out to cover that parcel.
That was my understanding. So we're not actually in the historic district there, are we?
No.
Okay, that was my question.
Okay.
But I believe we are on the other side, what you might call the parking garage parcel that faces on Schwenk Drive. Am I correct with that?
That's what I showed. No?
No, it doesn't go all the way to Schwenk. That was the question of debate, where it ended.
The map. Okay, well, where does it end then? It's not the state district or the SHPO district. The national there.
Dennis Larios can depict that on a simple illustration if he hasn't already.
Yeah, I'm looking at the physical map as we speak. So that's, yeah. I think we ought to clarify that going forward.
Okay.
We'll provide that. I believe the district went to the back of what was the old Montgomery Ward's building, which doesn't go all the way to Schwenk, because there used to be Plaza Road there, which was much closer to North Front than Schwenk is now. But I'll send that information. And there was conflicting, I think, two conflicting drawings of where that district boundary ended on the north end, that is.
Yeah, I think my point of reference was the letter that I think Mike had sent, when was that? November, it says November.
17th, Kevin. This is Mike.
17th. Yeah, I had it blown up too high so I could see the parcel thing. Okay, no, the November 17th letter, yeah, which I think conforms to what's in in the appendix of section 405, right?
Yeah, that's that when Dennis goes back to the office and talks to Chris Zell, his partner and surveyor there at Bernier and Larios, Chris got a map from Alan Aiden, and that's the map that he used, the official map with the city of Kingston for depiction of that line. So we'll definitely have Dennis follow up with it.
Okay.
Chris. Yeah.
Any other questions from members of Hayes? Shall I say either board?
Yes, I would. I think that's a good idea.
Hayes, you're muted. I'm sorry.
Anybody on the Heritage Area Commission have anything else to add or to ask? Nobody? Think we're good.
Right. Let's see. The last odd question that came to me from was, we have to show that nothing is sticking up higher than the spire of the old Dutch church. I think we're safe on this, but no one had mentioned that up till now. That is a peculiarity of the Stockade district that no one had asked, and I thought I'd better put that forth. Someone needs to step forward and show that.
I think a statement from Bernier and Larios should check that box.
Thank you kindly.
Mark, this is Mike. Yes, that exact issue too was brought up with the planning board. I think Sue and Sue can speak to that, and Kyla, that that exact issue was brought up with the planning board. And at the time, I believe Dennis demonstrated, and I think it's written in the neg deck, I believe, but I think Dennis demonstrated the exact footage difference. I defer to Dennis on it and Sue, but I believe that is in the neg deck.
And
All right.
I remember addressing it. I don't remember if we gave an exact figure, but it's not a close call. Fortunately, the elevation difference is significant in favor of the old Dutch church.
Another issue that was in the neg deck that's important to recognize here is the issue of when the demolition work on the building is done and construction is underway. There's the commitment from the developers to have an architect on site or available.
Archaeologist. Right.
Archaeologist, thank you, on site, so that anything, the disturbed materials, if anything arises, there will be someone there. It's not going to go by the wayside.
And
yeah, Sue's correct on that. This is Mike again. Joe Diamond sent in a letter. He's our PhD. Dr. Diamond is our archaeological consultant, and he will be there. He lives right in Old Hurley, and he said it's not a problem for him during demolition to stop every day. He'll stop every day to check in with what's going on, and that takes away the worry that I think a very good point that Mark made early on, where he said, how do we know if they find something that somebody's going to say something about it? And this way, he will be there every day. He's made that commitment. And again, that's like Scott said, something that could be made in the approval decision too and noted. So
we appreciate that. Thank you. Any other, oh yes, regarding demolition. And Hayes, I'll let you go. I see you have your hand up.
Well, I'll go after you. Go on. Just keep it.
My question is to Scott. I'm unclear how much of the original historical structure of the old Kingstonian Hotel still exists inside that brick shell. Has that been documented? Are there photographs that we can use as a historical record on whatever is at least left of that older building inside the brick? I know some of this, or perhaps even all of it, has been stripped down straight to the brick, and so there's not a lot left. But of what is left, can it be or has it been documented?
To my knowledge, there hasn't been a photo assessment, but I would be happy to volunteer our office's services to do that for the record. As this board knows, I'm a champion of adaptive reuse. The Fuller building, our office building, I was astounded at how little was left of the original extant features of the building. It's been stripped down, skinned over in the 1950s, and there is, it's barren inside. But we will create a room by room photo document for the record that we can share. We have a camera that takes 360-degree views. I'm happy to provide that to the city, to friends for the record.
Thank you. I think that may not, well, we will not be able to get a full sense of the older building, but at least we'll get a sense of its outline. And if you can highlight what you believe to have been original, that would be great.
Certainly. Yep, happy to do that.
Scott, you mentioned the wall sconces. What other exterior lighting do you anticipate on the perimeter of the buildings, and particularly on the, for the historic district side?
Not much. I mean, the developer likes this idea of having these catenary lights in the plaza. But we certainly don't need security lighting up high like you would in a freestanding building out in other elements. But at street level, it's begging for some ambiance lighting. I think there's enough lighting out there for security. There is a code requirement at exits that we have, don't quote me, I think it's 1.5 foot candles at each door, but that's a pretty modest amount of light. But the whole
like
idea,
you're not talking like anything up on the upper
no,
reaches of the
not.
building, like washing down on the building or anything, and nothing washing up or anything like that at this point in time, right?
Absolutely not. The only washing up that might be appropriate is that we found a light, it's called a well light, that goes into the concrete sidewalk, that I've been thinking would be nice to have a couple of them under this canopy, which admittedly in this rendering doesn't look like that big of a canopy, but it actually projects out 6 feet if you look at the plans. And in the new view that we're going to provide prior to the next submission date, where we're going to give you the opportunity to view that canopy from a person's eye level view, of 5'2" off the ground in the sidewalk, you'll see that it's a grand gesture, and I think it would be nice to provide a little uplight under there. But we're not proposing to uplight the building like the county courthouse or a public building, anything like that. Just the opposite, in fact, to create ambiance, a feeling of safety, but it's residential, it's hospitality, it wants to feel warm, comfortable, not suburban.
Okay, good. And I'm presuming that ultimately there'll be a completely separate signage package that will come back at some point in time after, maybe occupancies start going in. That's all going to be cohesive, like,
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Hayes?
My question is about a little more about process and timing. Sue, when do you think we're going to have a preservation notice of action to consider?
We could have one drafted. I was thinking, if Scott is prepared to get us the additional renderings on the items that we've talked about tonight, the material samples, if he has them here, they'll be available for inspection by any of the commission members and the general public. And then any electronic documents, of course, would be posted to the website and would also be then circulated directly to all of the commission members. So if we have that, we can have something in a drafted form for our next regular meeting in March. We need to make changes, or we'll go from there.
Well, I can tell you that the renderer is working tonight, tomorrow, and into the weekend as necessary. And I've got 90% of the material samples, so this is a priority for us. So we'll get them in.
Okay. Any thoughts on the color palettes that are shown at this point? Anybody have any reaction to that? Or is this fine to continue forward in this palette? I can't see everybody, so I'm hoping, maybe Scott, if I could ask you to take your screen share down real quick.
Yep.
So I can see.
Yep, I'm down.
Okay. Anyone? Robert, yes. You have to unmute.
Sorry, it wasn't working. Yeah, I think it looks great, Scott. It really looks wonderful. I mean, it's, you know, it's sophisticated, subtle colors. It's beautiful. So I'm all in.
Okay. Heritage members, have you any comments on anything, public access, colors, architectural treatments, anything? Dean?
Just a comment. I mean, there was a number of comments about the parking garage and the view shed and the view from Wall Street. And, you know, looking at older photographs, I mean, I was a little bit taken aback that the original arch motif that was in the earlier design was removed. However, looking at it again, the addition of the bay windows upstairs and thinking about the view down Wall Street from, you know, from say John Street, that those bay windows do add a lot to the view. That's just a comment that I think it's a big improvement over the original design.
Good.
And I think that the change in fenestration will also, or the alcoves are going to improve that as well, sort of break up the mass a little more. Robert, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I mean, this is probably a stupid question, but I was looking at, hold on a second. Sorry, my mute button is going crazy here. There's no, your illustrations don't have any, and I know, believe me, I know the process, but your illustrations don't have anything like street signage or you know, like the lighting, street lights. Are there street lights going to be in front of the buildings? Do you know, or do you need them? Or is there a city thing that we have to look at?
There's no proposal to change city street lighting. I think there'll be a photometric plan. I'll let Dennis answer.
Well, the only thing that there are two very large, tall suburban streetlights at the corner of Fair Street Extension and North Front that would be removed. And then any street level lights that would be added will be in the site plan package, but they will match the Stockade District light fixtures that were put in recent years, which are a low, you know, it's, I think it's a 14 or 16 foot LED street light lamp, historic type lamp fixture. I don't know that we'll be needing them along any of our frontage, to be honest with you.
So it could look like that without the streetlights blocking the view of the buildings and stuff like that.
Correct.
Oh.
But there's two large tall lights that are suburban style. You'll if you drive by there this week, you'll see them, but that will be coming out. That we're right. They're right on the corner of each corner of Fair Street Extension and North Front. Very large, tall I think they're the same ones that were used down on Schwenk Drive that still exist down on Schwenk. They'll be coming out. There they are. You see them.
All right.
Just showing that screen there.
Yeah.
And then I think these are, is this the light you're talking
Those
about
two,
over
yeah.
here? This is the smaller.
Yes. Any lights that we do need to add will be that exact fixture to match. Or at least that's what we would propose to match. Those two tall light poles would be bye-bye.
Okay, and I suppose you're going to have to put in stop signs. Just kidding, just kidding. Thank you,
I've
Dan.
got a question if you have a moment.
Nettie?
Yes, Nettie Morano. Are the hard surfaces, the sidewalk and the courtyard, will they be concrete, stone, or a combination of those two?
Well, the sidewalks on North Front that we will replace will be bluestone with brick trim. As you know, Schwenk Drive is a wide, 8 to 10 foot wide concrete sidewalk. To the extent we have to replace some of that, it would probably be concrete down on Schwenk because everything else on Schwenk is concrete.
That makes sense.
But everything up on the street and the historic district and on North Front Street would be a bluestone with brick accent, which is what it is now in front of the old parking garage. But on the Herzog warehouse side, it's actually blacktop over something, probably over old bluestone.
And so the courtyard area, the public area will also be stone?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and the landscape architect, I don't know if it's specified in detail yet, Scott, what his design of the pedestrian plaza as far as the surface treatment.
I can share with the board that it's meant to be a paver stone. The exact paver stone at this point, again, we've got all of these supply chain issues. Who knows what we'll be able to get, but that'll be articulated clearly in the planning board submission, but it's meant to be stone, paver stone.
So it's not going to be like a poured concrete
No.
Correct.
type of
Correct.
plaza area.
Remember that.
Right. I think that's what Nettie was
That was
asking.
my concern, right? Yeah.
Right.
No, in fact, Brad even mentioned to me that at one point prior to our involvement in the project, I think he had said that there would be some articulation of the stockade district boundary in the paver stone. And
yes, that had been part of some discussion. I recall that. I like that. I think that's an interesting idea too.
yeah, with some interpretive signage.
Yes.
And he shared that with me a couple of months ago. He said, just remember that I committed to that. So.
Yes, I remember that discussion. I think the idea was just this is the perimeter of the stockade itself, where the palisade wall would have been.
Right. But I think what Scott just mentioned too is a very nice feature that there will be interpretive signage in the plaza. They've committed to doing something along those lines, which is nice to, see there as well.
Yeah. And it'll be an important introduction to those who are new to Kingston. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, no, Brad said that they have committed to a kiosk. There would be a digital type of kiosk with a QR code component to it so that anybody visiting, and that would highlight historical properties throughout the entire Hudson Valley, not just Kingston. And we'll talk more about that during site plan review, but there are a number of those things that where Brad made commitments early on that he keeps reminding me that these have to be part of the project because the family's been in this community forever, and it's important to him that he make good on those promises.
Good.
All right. Any further discussion or questioning? All right, hearing none, I would entertain a motion to table this project until March.
So moved.
Thank you, Hayes. Do I have a second?
Second,
Thank you, Kevin. I will call the roll. Hayes,
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
Oh, everyone's pictures got scrambled. Sorry. Robert,
Aye.
Kevin? You need to unmute, Kevin.
aye, aye.
Thank you. Andrea remains recused, and I vote in the affirmative. Hayes, I think you're up next.
Yes, this is the next item of business is 28 Post Street. I'm going to recuse.
Hayes, if you could just do the tabling for,
So do I hear a motion from a Heritage Area Commissioner to table this matter until March?
Dean Barnes, so moved.
Thank you, Dean. Do I hear a second?
Second, Nettie Morano.
Thank you, Nettie. Motion's on the floor. Any debate? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Nettie Morano,
Aye.
Namar,
Aye.
Barnes,
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you all for, I think, number 4 and number 5, if I'm not mistaken.
yes.
Me too.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good night.
Good night, Mike. Good night, Dennis. And welcome back, Andrea. Okay, Hayes, do you want to? You're muted, Hayes. Do you want to do 28?
28 Post Street, I'm going to recuse on this one because the applicant is a recent client of mine, so I will hand it over to Kevin to talk about this.
Okay, I believe this is also in the HLPC.
Yes, it is.
Yes, so well, I guess the question will be if we're going to be issuing an advisory opinion or just
Yes, you
defer.
will. Right,
Okay.
and Nancy Donskoy, the applicant, is here.
Yeah, I think I saw Nancy earlier. Yeah, there's Nancy.
here.
Nancy. Do we want to open the floor for discussion?
Yeah, do you want to just read the item into the, off the agenda, just read it into the record, Kevin?
Yeah, sure can do. Okay. Open the agenda up again. And here we go. 28 Post Street, application for installation of 3 Mitsubishi Hyperheat ductless units, section block and lot 56.43-4-18. Secret type 2, Ward 8, Zone RT, Rhinedout Historic District. Nancy Donskoy, applicant, Butler Zupang Trust owner.
Okay.
Thank you, Kevin. And Nancy, if you could give us a quick description of the plan here for both boards.
Okay, well, I have a 3-story brick building, so I need a unit on each floor. And there's the building, the side of it. Now that's a very old picture, which does not depict the new construction right next door to my house. So, and that was what was submitted by the RICOR, the HVAC system installer. And since then, I submitted a revised drawing where I'd like to put the 3 condensers on the other side of the basement window along the back, and you will really not see it from the street at all, because there is currently a 1-story garage going up right along the property line of my building. So I only have 8 feet, and then I intend to put back the fence, so as someone walks along Post Street, glancing in that direction, they will not see it. I also think they're very ugly myself, so I intend to put a screen around it. In fact, I have now 3 garbage cans, which are also, would probably cover it, but I want to hide those as well. So once they're up and we'll get the lines painted, that'll be along the brick to a brick color because they're paintable. So that'll happen when we could do that weather-wise. And I've asked my neighbors who are, they have a construction firm and they're architects, Dorothy and Chris and PS Designs, to make me a little barrier. So it will match my fence that will be put up as well. So that's the plan.
Here is the revised. I'm sorry about that, Nancy. So I move this over.
Oh, that's.
And this is just a revised sketch. Kind of, you can see here on this screen share, the units are moved to the back of side of the building. So if you remember where the basement window was, they're focused now towards the very rear, not up towards the street. So they're pushed back as really literally as far as they can go. Okay.
And I was told they could be stacked in either direction, horizontal or one on top of the other, but I think they'd be easily hidden if they were lower, and not one on top of the other in a vertical fashion.
Yeah, I would agree they'd be less visible that way.
Do members of Historic Landmarks have questions for Ms. Donskoy? I think probably we should go first. Have you decided whether this is purely advisory for HAC?
Heritage is advisory, so they should go first. And then HLPC would be definitive. So Kevin, Heritage is first. It's a type 2 action, so you just have to recognize it as such first.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to declare this a type 2 action under SECRA.
Dean Barnes, so moved.
Do we have a second?
Janet Moore, second.
Okay, any further discussion on this? Hearing none, we'll call for the roll call vote. Dean?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Nettie?
Aye.
And I will be voting in the affirmative as well.
Okay.
So I think the next order of business would be to present to the Landmarks Commission an advisory opinion. Do we want to have discussion on this as to what that opinion would be? Or alternatively, just let them take charge from here on.
You could recommend if the commission is comfortable, you could recommend that they approve it as presented.
Okay.
With the discussion of the screening. One thing I don't know if it was discussed was the painting of the tubing talked about. Okay.
Yes, I believe Ms.
I was
Donskoy
looking
said
for
it
the
would
other
be
document, so okay. All
to
right.
match the brick.
Good. Okay.
Spray.
Mhm.
So
Dean, you're muted.
Dean,
Yes, I would like to make a motion to, in our advisory capacity, to move the motion forward as presented.
do we have a second?
I will second Nettie Morano.
Okay, we'll call for the vote then. Dean,
Aye.
Janet,
Aye.
Nettie,
Aye.
and I'll be in the affirmative as well.
Okay.
And with that, I think I'll turn the HJC back to Hayes. Yes.
Yep.
First, we're going to go over to Mark, and then.
And I'll be happy to pass it back to Hayes when we're ready.
Yeah, you pass.
All right. On behalf of the Historic Landmark Preservation Commission, I'll entertain a motion to declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act.
Andrea Pugh, so moved.
Thank you, Andrea.
Second, Robert.
Thank you, Robert. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the roll. Nettie?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
I note Hayes's recusal, and I also vote aye. All right. I move that the commissioners present find as fact that the proposed installation of 3 Mitsubishi Hyperheat ductless units to 28 Post Street in the Rondout Historic District by applicant Nancy Donskoy, if done according to the plans reviewed at this meeting and according to the procedures stipulated in section 405-64 of the City of Kingston's Administrative Code, is compatible with the historic character of the district, that this work will cause a material change to the external appearance of the property, but will not cause any permanent change to the building that would affect its character or significance in the district. That any changes or additions to the plans of work specifically described and outlined in the submitted application would be subject to further review by our commission prior to the work being carried out. I'd like to amend that to note the planned fencing that Nancy has pledged for the site, that be included in this approval.
Okay.
That the commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from the City of Kingston's Building Safety Division or any other required approvals from relevant coordinating agencies. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that on this 3rd day of February 2022, this commission grant a preservation notice of action to the above referenced applicant for the work described herein, and in its application to this commission, such notice to be subject to the conditions contained in the foregoing motion. Do I have a second?
Second, Robert.
Thank you, Robert. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I will call the roll. Nettie?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Nancy.
And I will turn things back to Hayes.
All right. The next item of business is 5 Abeille Street and 8 and 10 Post Street, an application to renovate the exterior of an existing building. Kingston LLC, also doing business as Charles Blakeman, is the applicant and owner. Is anyone here representing Mr. Blakeman? Scott?
Yep, I'm here.
A little about this?
Sure. Give me a second. You guys are moving faster than I thought you would tonight. We have petitioned the National Park Service to get the building listed on the National Register. It is Charles's intent to do a full-on historic tax credit rehabilitation of the building. Pretty straightforward, commercial on the ground floor, residential on the upper floor. This project will be subject to the review of the New York State SHPO office as well as the National Park Service. Those documents have been submitted and are under review. No significant changes to the exterior other than bringing it back to its original modest glory.
Anybody on Heritage have any questions of Scott or any concerns to express? Take it we're advisory, HAC is advisory on this?
Yes.
Do I hear a motion to declare this a type 2 action under seeker? Dean Barnes, do I hear a second?
Second,
Second by Kevin McAvoy. That motion's on the floor. Any further debate on declaring this a type 2 action? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Nettie Morano? You're
Aye.
muted.
Yeah. Aye.
Janet Marr?
Aye.
Dean Barnes? You're muted, Dean. Dean
Aye.
And Kevin McAvoy.
aye.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to endorse the proposed project at 5 Abeal Street and 8 and 10 Post Street as presented?
Motion, Kevin McAvoy.
By Kevin, do I hear a second?
Second, Janet Marr.
Thank you, Janet. Any further debate on that motion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote on that. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Nettie Morano?
Aye.
Marr?
Aye.
Dean Barnes?
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy?
Aye.
The ayes have it. I'll turn it back over to you, Mark.
Thank you, Hayes. I have a question, Scott.
Sure.
Does your client plan to propose it as a local landmark as well?
Interesting question. I'm all ears.
Well, it would be nice to try to keep our listings of local landmarks congruent with what the state and federal government believe. I would put that. I would ask you to discuss that possibility with your client. It does require some public hearing and also a vote of the city council. So you may want to discuss this with the local council member for that.
Okay. First time I've been asked that question, so I need to do some research, but I would think that if it doesn't impede the ability to obtain a building permit, the applicant would be receptive to that. If it does, then maybe we could discuss it at a future date. But
I wanted to put that plug in.
Yeah, no, I've never. We can talk about this more offline, but we would like to get a building permit as soon as possible. And we are, as soon as the New York State SHPO has approved the plan, it goes to the National Park Service. The application is currently with the New York State SHPO. We anticipate that it goes to the National Park Service in the next week or so. They're currently running about 45 days. By statute, they should run 30 days, but they're running about 45 days. And we're hoping to start stabilizing the building in the spring. So if the request that you've made does not prevent us from getting a building permit in the spring, then it seems like a no-brainer to me. If it does, I would say we would get the building permit and then bring it back around.
Yeah,
So
I
I'll follow up with you.
I don't see how it would impede the process to obtain the building permit.
So it
I mean,
seems
you
like a
could probably
no-brainer.
do them both concurrently, but it wouldn't, I don't think it would have an impact on that.
The last time I think we had a question along those lines was the Tri-Arts building on Henry Street, and it did not slow down a building permit at that time.
Okay, if that's the case, I can't see why we wouldn't, but I will reserve the right to consult with Charles and get back to Sue early next week.
It's a good point,
Thank
Mark.
you.
Mark, you should just also, just for the record, we'll recognize that Andrea Putz again has recused because of her business affiliation with SDA.
Thank you for pointing that out. All right. And do any other members of HLPC have questions for Scott? Yes, Robert.
Yeah, I'm just curious about something, Scott. Did I read that the upper windows, I think, I don't know which street it's on, but they have this sort of something over the windows. It's like a decorative sort of thing. Are they going to be replaced, those things? Do you know what I'm talking about? Those, it's like a cross hatching sort of thing.
I think Kyla might be looking to, Kyla, are you pulling it up? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's it. Did I read that those are going to, that those are important and are going to be replaced? I'm just curious.
Forgive me. I don't have an answer for that right now. So
I think they are shown on the plan, Scott. Let me see here what I have.
I know I'm not supposed to comment in a professional capacity, but can I clarify? Because I know the answer to the question.
Thank you.
Yes, we do currently show them as being replaced and repaired.
So they were original. Pretty much so.
Original, I'm not certain, but we are currently showing them as a repaired and replaced item.
Okay.
Yeah. So for the board's edification, we have been taking guidance from a preservation consultant who we've worked with on a number of projects over the years, who's done, I think he shared with me that he had done 168 HTC projects or something close to that number in his career. So we've been taking guidance from him. So I apologize for not being that acutely aware of all of the details, but.
Well, it's not like you don't have other things going on.
We've been following his lead.
One thing I did, Scott, I just want to say, I mean, whoever, it's a wonderful thing that a building like this is being renovated and brought back to where it's supposed to be. It's great. So
yeah,
just wanted to say.
Yeah, my first apartment in the city of Kingston, when I came to Kingston, was at 37.5 Broadway, about 250 feet away from there. And this building has been an eyesore for the 25 plus years that I've been in Kingston. So,
commissioners, also one other modification, very, very small modification that we've made. Kyla, if you want to bring up the elevation again on Post Street. On the proposed, the windows that will be those double hungs that are on that middle band, those will be a 9-on-9 divided light, not a 6-on-6 as we have them shown in the proposed. This is just the existing. Yes, that elevation. Yeah, those double hung windows in the middle, type F, those will be 9-on-9, as well as the two that are A down on the lower level. Those will all be 9-on-9 divided light, not 6-on-6.
You're risking games of tic-tac-toe. All right. Thank you. Any other questions for Scott? All right. I will entertain a motion to declare this a type 2 action under seeker. Thank you, Hayes. Do I have a second? I think Kevin was muted, but beat you with hand gestures. Robert, so second to Kevin. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call the roll. Nettie?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Hayes?
Aye.
I note Andrea's recusal. I also vote in the affirmative. And I move that our commission find as fact that the proposed renovation and restoration to 5 Abeal Street and parking lot side improvements to 5 Abeal and 8 and 10 Post Street in the Rondout Historic District by owner CBSKI Kingston LLC, Charles Blakeman, if done according to the plans reviewed at this meeting and according to the procedures stipulated in section 405-64 of the City of Kingston's Administrative Code, is compatible with the historic character of the district for the following reasons. This work will cause a material change to the external appearance of the property, and in so doing will aid in restoration and preservation of the structure. The asphalt siding will be removed. Wood clapboard siding will be either restored or replaced as needed. Wood details and trim to be restored and painted. The ground floor storefront will be renovated and new storefront windows to be added. New wood windows will replace deteriorated and missing windows. Brick will be cleaned and repointed. The structure will be painted Benjamin Moore white winged dove with white trim. Any changes or additions to the plans or work specifically described in and outlined in the submitted application with the changes noted earlier by the applicant will be subject to further review by our commission prior to the work being carried out. That the commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from the City of Kingston's Building Safety Division or any other required approvals from relevant coordinating agencies. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that on this 3rd day of February 2022, our commission grant a preservation notice of action to the above referenced applicant for the work that, as described herein and in its application to our commission, such notice to be subject to the conditions contained in the foregoing motion. Do I have a second?
Second, Hayes.
Thank you, Hayes. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Nettie?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Hayes?
Aye.
I note Andrea's recusal and I vote in the affirmative. Back to you, Hayes.
Next item of business is an application for exterior renovations and site improvements at 16 Abeal Street. The applicant is CBSKI Kingston LLC, also known as Charles Blakeman, applicant and owner. This is, to my mind, probably one of the most architecturally significant buildings in the Rondout. Do you want to tell us what the plan is, Scott?
Sure. The plan is to stabilize the exterior, renovate the interior, no material change to the exterior other than restoration work. So
the application sort of says, doesn't speak to whether the windows are going to be replaced or restored.
Well, that's subject to the SHPO and PS's position in that regard. They have a fairly strict bar or high bar for replacement of windows. And their standard is if 50% of the window is intact, it will be, it must be preserved. And so that particular question is something that I can't answer until we have their position.
And I don't know if I don't think, it didn't look like the application spoke to whether the current paint scheme is going to be replicated, the rosette, the red rosettes and stuff like that.
Subsequent to submitting the application, Sue reached out to me. I spoke to Charles Blakeman. He said that he would like to go with a much more muted solution there and do all of the trim in white, making it just white on brick and not highlight those rosettes. Let the accents that exist in the slate roof kind of highlight. the detail of the building.
Have you thought if that's going to be the scheme, maybe a more muted color than that bright white, particularly if it's still going to be against painted red brick?
Yeah. The proposed white is the same white that was used at 24 John Street for your consideration. It's a softer white. It's more, I think calling it buttery would be going a little bit too far, but it's a much warmer white than exists on the building presently.
But it would all be white, including the window sashes?
Correct.
Everything white.
Yeah, that's his desire and what he asked me to present to the board. If there are thoughts about the paint scheme, then that's my job to take them back to him.
Is the paint choice something is the painting something that's going to happen a while from now because of the weather?
It absolutely. I would say that it would probably be fall of 2022 after all of the masonry work at best.
So is
Spring
that
of 2023.
something you could refine and come back to us with?
Certainly.
Okay.
And if you have thoughts and suggestions, I'd be happy to share them with the applicant. We can do that offline. Or
any other Heritage Area Commissioners have questions for Scott or thoughts on the color scheme?
Scott, just wondering, I'm looking at the full application, photograph 3. There's a couple of windows that look like they're either, one of them is bricked up, the other two are boarded up. Are they going to stay that way, or because of, how it's the layout on the interior of the building, or is there thought being given to restoring that?
Scott, I can answer that if you'd like.
thank you.
In talking with the historic consultant, there is intention to try and restore those openings as former doorway openings, but keep them shut so they're not operable, and and make them half glass. So there would be some light that would be allowed in that opening.
Okay.
Do you mean these, Kevin? This is Kyla. Do you mean
yes,
like this one here?
Yeah. That and I think over here, and I couldn't see in the photograph of it. Yeah, that is a doorway. Yeah, down there. It didn't. It looked more like a window from the perspective I was looking at of the photograph. But yes,
that one window, Kevin, I can answer that. That one window, we don't currently have any plans to restore that.
Right.
But the two doors that are on the right side of the image,
right,
those will be replaced as fixed doors with half glass.
Okay.
Kyla, if you could bring up the street view again. The part under or surrounding the front door where it looks like the brick there is painted white. That's always struck me as a really awkward looking thing on that place. Would the plan, Scott, be possibly to paint that the same color as the brick above?
Certainly. Yeah, that's a great suggestion. Yeah.
Any other Heritage Area Commissioners have questions on this? And in terms of the parking lot improvement, is that going to change the elevation of it? Is it going to include a retaining wall, anything like that?
Well, we have to go to the planning board. There's not a lot that can be done to improve the conditions there. Certainly we'll be doing a resurfacing, but the minute you touch it, it's a little bit like pulling on a thread in a sweater. The grade, if you were to attempt to flatten out the grade of the parking lot too much, you create a very steep transition going up to it. So it's one of those round out conditions with elevation change that certainly less than ideal, but
No, I think we would have a concern if you said you were going to try to grade it out and flatten it, and therefore there'd be a retaining wall next to the sidewalk.
no. I mean, it would be nice to flatten out the parking lot, but that creates other issues with the access up to the parking tray. So, I mean, we're hoping to pick up a couple of inches here and there and smooth things out, but we're not proposing anything dramatic there.
It'd also be great if y'all could figure out some way to move these dumpsters back or out of the way or screen them somehow.
I think we have, forgive me, it's been a while since we've prepared these plans, but I think that we have screening. Andrea, can you jump in there?
I think I may have moved them off to in this view, the left side of the building. So they're set further back and away. I also would have to double check the site plan.
Yeah, but Hayes, clearly the intent is to soften that view, right? And not have it be the first thing that you see when you enter the site.
Heritage Area Commissioners, any other questions of Scott? Do I hear a motion to declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act?
So move, Nettie Morano.
Thank you, Nettie. Do I hear a second?
Second. Oh. Sorry.
Second by Dean Barnes, I believe.
Sorry.
Any debate on that motion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Nettie Morano.
Aye.
Janet Marr.
Aye.
Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Do I hear a motion to endorse the exterior renovation and site improvement plan for 16 of Beale Street as presented, with further consideration to be given to a exterior paint color scheme?
Dean Barnes, so moved.
Thank you, Dean. Do I hear a second?
Janet Marr, second.
Any debate on that motion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Nettie Morano.
Aye.
Janet Marr.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Nice have it. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. While you were making the vote, I did look up our planning board submission, and we switched to a tote solution that's recessed and should be.
Kyla had that plan up on the screen where there's a concrete pad off to the side of the building.
Correct.
Somewhat behind where the dumpster, you saw the dumpster. So that can get screened, and there'll be totes there. As long, I think screening from the street is appropriate.
But you'll come back to us with a final paint plan.
See it right there?
Absolutely. Yep.
Mark, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Hayes. For HLPC, does anyone have questions for Scott? I would like to support the idea of popping at least some of the detail on that building. I'm concerned that pure white will just wash out the supports for the cornices, all the rosettes. I can understand why you might think that the red and very bright kind of lime green would not be something you'd want forever. But I do feel that the visual presentation of the building should call some attention to those details so as to give added texture to the facade. That's my own personal opinion. Anyone else want to make a comment? All right, I will entertain a motion to declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act.
So moved, Robert.
Thank you, Robert. Do I hear a second?
Nettie
Second.
Morano, second.
Oh, Give it to
Oop, I
Nettie.
think Nettie won that race, Kevin. Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call the roll. Nettie?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Hayes?
Aye.
Note Andrea's continued recusal, and I vote aye. All right.
Thank you. We'll see you again in the coming months and.
Oh,
Wait, we're not done
don't
yet.
run on us yet.
Okay.
Because I still have to move that the commissioners present find as fact that the proposed renovation and restoration to 16 Abeale Street in the Rondout Historic District by owner CBSKI Kingston LLC or Charles Blakeman, if done according to the plans reviewed at this meeting and according to the procedures stipulated in section 405-64 of the City of Kingston's Administrative Code, is compatible with the historic character of the district for the following reasons. This work will cause a material change to the external appearance of the property, and in so doing will aid in restoring and preserving the structure. The brick will be cleaned and repointed, and the windows and trim to be restored and repainted, and the parking and landscaping areas to be upgraded. Any changes or additions to the plans or work specifically described and outlined in the submitted application will be subject to further review by our commission prior to the work being carried out. That the commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from the City of Kingston's Building Safety Division or any other required approvals from relevant coordinating agencies. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that on this third day of February 2022, our commission grant a preservation notice of action to the above referenced applicant for the work as described herein and in its application to the commission, such notice to be subject to the conditions contained in the foregoing motion. Do I hear a second?
Mark, do you want to mention that you would ask for them to return or submit a new painting scheme?
Yes, and that I thought was implied by the
By removing that, I think it should be made clear in there, though, that.
Okay, then let's make that explicit, that the windows and trims will be restored and painted in colors to be approved by this commission. And then we'll continue with, and the parking and landscaping areas will be upgraded. I submit the motion as amended. I will need another second.
Second, Hayes.
Thank you, Hayes. Any further discussion on the motion as amended? Hearing none, I will call the roll. Nettie?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Thank you. Hayes?
Aye.
And I also vote in the affirmative. Now, Scott.
Thank you.
Good night.
Nice.
Okay, next item of business is 8 North Front Street, application for exterior facade lighting, Front and Fair LLC owner, Don and Judy Tollerman applicants. Judy, are you still with us?
Yes. Hi.
Hi, if you could give us a little description of what you want to do.
Sure. I'm going to turn this video. Hi, everybody. This is Don Tollerman. So this proposal is to illuminate the facade of Senate Garage. Right now, when you're approaching the building from Dysings up the hill and then up in North Front Street, our building is really dark, and we feel that we want to help the business district feel more alive and more that's going on, and hopefully the Kingstonian will be built across the street, and will play nicely off of that building. So we just want to, we're proposing a plan here to put a light at the very top of the building. You can see that strip up there that will go the entire length and it will shine both up in the middle there. Those three parapet objects will be lit up, and then we'll be able to light up the facade. The light will wash the entire facade going down. We're also going to be putting there's going to be above the signage on the Fair Street wall. That also is a little bit more lit now that we have some new signage up there. So that's really it. Just wanted to brighten up the block and make the building and uptown feel more inviting and active. I'll make one comment about the transom lights you see over the retail. Those windows are beautiful. George Donskoy stored them about 6 or 7 years ago, but they sort of get lost without having backlighting. So we're going to explore putting some light in them so that too makes the building more interesting.
Don, are the lights going to be essentially dimmable, at different times during year, different day parts?
Yeah, is Jeff Leffield on the call? I know he was unmuted. He's the lighting designer.
Yes, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Can you see me?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Isn't technology wonderful? First of all, Happy New Year to everyone. Happy and healthy New Year. Yes, to answer your question very pointedly and directly, all of the LED lighting that I engineer through my company is always dimmable, and the dimmable level on this technology is 5% of full rated output. So yes, the foot candle output can be adjusted at any time, all the way down to 5% of full rated output. And we submitted photometric calculations, minimums and maximums across the entire surface of the building's facade based on the fixtures in a configuration where the LEDs would produce, or excuse me, they would utilize 12 watts per linear foot. And each fixture is 4 feet. We calculated we would need 23 4-foot fixtures, and the total wattage that would be required across the entire running length of the facade of the building was approximately 1,100 watts. If it was to be a single 15 amp circuit at 120 volts, that circuit would comfortably produce 1,800 watts on a 15 amp circuit. What we're proposing to light the building would require 1,100 watts. So it's a highly efficient 90 CRI. CRI is color rendering index. It's basically a museum quality light source, and very unobtrusive and fully dimmable.
I think it looks terrific, and it's going to be a very exciting enhancement to that entire block. Do any other members of the Heritage Area Commission have concerns or questions for the applicant? Do I hear a motion to declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act?
Dean Barnes, so moved.
Dean, do I hear a second?
Nettie Morano, second.
Thank you, Nettie. That motion's on the floor. Any further debate? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Nettie Morano.
Aye.
Janet Marr.
Aye.
Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Do I hear a motion to endorse the plan for facade lighting at 8 North Front Street as presented?
Dean Barnes, so moved.
Dean, do I hear a second?
Second, Kevin
Okay.
McAvoy.
Second, thank you. That duly made motion is before us for a vote. Any further debate on that? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Nettie Morano.
Aye.
Janet Marr.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Guys have it. I'll turn it over to you, Mark.
Thank you. Do any members of Historic Landmark Preservation Commission have questions for the applicant or for the lighting designer? I do. A question to you, Mr. Versakos, is that right?
Yes. Jeff, to you, sir.
Thank you kindly, Jeff. And feel free to use Mark. And my initial response was that it was reminiscent of the Elmwood Neon Light District in Buffalo. But your description is quite a bit different. So I'm trying to get a sense of sizing up against the building. I mean, it's a bright line across brick, and it's hard for me to get a sense of that looking at the picture.
Mark, it's a very good question. The fixture, and again, as we try to educate people about lighting, fixtures are plumbing. The actual technical term for a light source is luminaire. The 4-foot luminaire is less than 2 inches square. It would be cantilevered off the building 12 inches. That's how we based our calculations. It is really, to describe the way it would be visually seen, although I think the person that rendered it did a pretty good job, it would look like a very, very thin line of light that when you would look for it, you'll see it. But because of its effectiveness as a linear luminaire, what will predominate to the viewer will be the facade of the building and the details of the brick and the way the Senate garage looks. When they then make the mental connection that that linear thin band of light is creating the illumination, they will see a very thin light because in fact, the strip is less than 2 inches square.
Okay.
It's very
all right.
small.
So this will be a very different appearance than, say, a neon or what we think of as a bulb or strip. This is thinner and more precise, if I'm following your description.
Well, yes, and the reason it's actually a very good point, and I should have mentioned that, but the reason that is that when you look at the spec sheets and when you look at the fixture, and I'd be more than happy to pay a visit and demonstrate dimming and what it looks like, high quality LEDs have optics in them. When you talk about a neon tube, for instance, what Matt Dilling produces, and they are like as good as it gets in Kingston, those folks that produce neon is a glowing tube, but the light is what you see and that's what you get. It glows 360 and that's it. With LEDs with optics, we are grazing the building. That is, we have a specific lighting task where we calculate the best way to, in the narrowest cone of light, graze the brick and graze the details of the building. And we are not just randomly creating a glare bomb of a strip. The light is directed down across the facade. And as I said, you see the light, but it's not hitting you in the eyes. It is lighting the building and you see a line, you see an illuminated line, but the building will predominate. The illumination of the facade will be what people will see.
Right, so it's a very different effect than, say, Elmwood Street in Buffalo, where they've outlined a lot of building detail in neon.
That's different.
All right.
Yeah, that's
so thank you. I appreciate the description because this is something new for me and I've not seen anything quite like it up till now.
Yeah.
Anyone else have additional questions for the applicant or for the lighting designer? All right, I'll entertain a motion that we declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act.
Hayes Clement.
Thank you, Hayes. Do I hear a second?
Robert Tonner, second.
Thank you, Robert. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call the roll. Nettie?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Hayes?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
And I also vote in the affirmative. And I move that the commissioners present find as fact that the proposed addition of a light bar to the facade of 8 North Front Street in the Stockade Historic District by owners Don and Judy Tollerman, if done according to the plans reviewed at this meeting and according to the procedures stipulated in section 405-64 of the City of Kingston's Administrative Code, is compatible with the historic character of the district for the following reasons. This work will cause a material change to the external appearance of the property, but will not detract from the character and features of the building or the historic district. The light bar will run the entire length of the building to direct light down to wash the building facade and to bring out architectural details. Any changes or additions to the plans or work specifically described and outlined in the submitted application will be subject to further review by our commission prior to the work being carried out. The commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from the City of Kingston's Building Safety Division or any other required approvals from relevant coordinating agencies. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that on this 3rd day of February 2022, our commission grant a preservation notice of action to the above referenced applicant for the work as described herein, and in its application to the commission, such notice to be subject to the conditions contained in the foregoing motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Hayes. Any further discussion on the motion?
May I interject something, Mark? I'm sorry.
Let me go to Robert first. Hang on, Jeff.
Yes.
All right, I just have a question. Don, I think you mentioned that you wanted to light the back of the windows also. Is that part of this, or is
That's not
just
part of
something
this. That would be separate. That's just, yeah, I mean, that's no different than turning a light on, leaving a light on at night so it shines out the window.
It would be interior lighting.
That's interior lighting, right?
All right.
Thank you for that clarification. Jeff, you wanted to add something?
Yes, Mark, I just wanted to make sure that that everyone, if and when they peruse the documents, that they will also see that there were photometric calculations that we did at the request of Don and Judy for an option that the 3 parapets would be able to also be illuminated and with color. So that if those 3 sections wanted to add, for lack of a better term, some pizzazz, a la the Empire State Building, those 3 sections with 3 discrete 4-foot linear luminaires would be able to wash in tunable color. And the technology is such that it could be cobalt blue, it could be fuchsia, it could be warm white, it could be candle warm white, it could be tunable for those 3 parapets. It's an option if that's also something that would be, it wouldn't be Vegas, it would be a subtle enhancement and some color.
Right, and our thought on that was, special events, maybe the 4th of July or special thing we have going on there, not to do it often. And we're not, just to have a little bit of fun with it.
So it wouldn't be like intermittent or flashing. It would just be a straight light and just a color.
Correct. And that color is tunable. That is, you can tune it to be exactly the color you want.
Right. So St. Patrick's Day might be green, and 4th of July it might be red, white, and blue.
Right. And you could also have the center one that would illuminate the date of the building, the date of the construction of the building could also be a particular warm white, and the 2 flanking ones could be any color or any combination that you want, because it's digital lighting. You can program it and tell it what to do. And no flashing unless you want it to flash.
We would ask for not. The idea here is
they're not landing helicopters on the top of the Senate garage, so we won't be doing that. Right.
And just to clarify, Jeff, that color switching would not be on the transom lights, just on the parapet.
No, the transom lights, the linear across the facade of the building is strictly a static 90 CRI, and the client and Kingston will determine, do you want 2700 Kelvin, which is a warm white, or do you want a little cleaner 3,000 Kelvin, which is based on a halogen light bulb, which has always been a museum light source standard. That would be a static white light for the brick, for the facade.
I would recommend more a warmer white, but that's me.
Interesting. This may be the first application that has these sorts of options built in. Does that create any additional questions for Historic Landmark Preservation Commission members? All right. Seeing none, there is a motion on the floor with a second. Do I have any further discussion on the motion?
Well, yeah, Mark, do we have to amend the motion to reflect that?
Recognizing that, yes.
Okay, then I would have to amend the third paragraph where we simply say the light bar will run the entire length of the building to direct light down to wash the building facade and bring out architectural details, and can also be programmed to provide light upward on the parapets and the building date, which can be tuned to different colors. Is that the correct way to describe this, Jeff?
Yes, and of course you could simply say that you want the parapets to be in the same static white. If you simply always want that to be an architectural lighting feature that doesn't deviate from the color of white chosen, that could be that way too. The color is simply an option.
I think that
for the three.
I think we would, because this is novel to me, I have a hard time envisioning that. Does the commission have strong feelings on trying to keep everything monochrome, or do we want to comment specifically on color?
Well, the original motion, I don't think, or the original preservation notice of action, as you read it, mentioned color at all. So
no, it did not. So this is a new twist.
No, I know. And we're not specifying color at all. I think it's open to being interpreted as being able to do the multicolor thing on the parapet.
I think it's important though that we note it in the preservation notice of action that this exists as an option. I think we're going to have to, in this case, sort of see how it looks. If this comes up again and is deemed objectionable, I know that we do not permit interior lit. If this comes to represent or to look to this commission as something more objectionable because the colors are overly bright or overly intrusive or not doing as described to highlight architectural detail, we're going to have to deal with that. It's hard for me to figure out the best way to describe any limitation. Unless we really want to, we can make it monochrome. And Andrea, I see you have your hand up.
Yeah, Andrea Pugh speaking. I don't have any issues with this. I think it's actually I'm actually more encouraged by it, hearing that you can tune lighting to very specific ways. And I think the default, if you want to call it a default setting, would probably be whatever that sort of neutral color needs to be, but only on specific occasions would it change colors. And I think, again, would enhance whatever's going on within the district. Certainly we have a big St. Patty's Day thing that happens. So having a little green accent, I think, would be kind of interesting, or for any other holidays. So 4th of July, certainly. So yeah, I'm more attracted to this idea than I was originally.
All right, so we're talking about an amendment adding a description of the colors. Don, Judy, how would you expect to use this? So I can summarize this appropriately.
That the on infrequent occasion or rare occasion, we will possibly light the 3 center parapet features
Mhm.
with colors, with various colors to mark a holiday, as an example.
All right.
And it will be subtle.
It'll be subtle. Yeah, we're not.
Yes.
Well, yes, you're projecting on a building that is not changing color, so there's a limit to how strong a
Right.
visual impact it's going to be.
It's not the whole upper parapet. There's just three. I don't know.
Three bars, so to speak.
No, not three, but what we're lighting up is three precast features that rise above the parapet wall, and only those would be lit, not the rest of the upper. Just those only those three pieces would be in different colors.
Sue, can you bring up, can you screen share the P&A so that we can just wordsmith it in real time and figure out where to insert this?
Well, it should be in the third paragraph clearly, and I think we will keep the language. The light bar will run the entire length of the building to direct light down to wash the building facade and bring out architectural details. And then 3 portions of the light bar will also be programmable to provide additional light and on occasion color to the parapet accents. And I believe you also mentioned the date stone of the building.
That's correct. 1921.
Okay, I think that summarizes it. And then, so I move that the motion is amended. Do I hear a second to the motion as amended?
Hayes Clement, second.
Thank you, Hayes. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'll call the roll. Nettie?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Hayes?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. I look forward to seeing how this turns out. I think it's a fascinating and novel twist for us, and I am hopeful that it will really turn out to be an asset to the Stockade District. So thank you for your efforts. Thank you for being groundbreakers with a new technology for us. And thank you for not turning us into Buffalo.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. I believe that ends the HLPC section of our agenda. Sue, do you need me to hang around or should I entertain a motion to adjourn?
I do not. I just want to, before HLPC closes, we've begun work on the 2 grants that the city received under the HLPC. One was under the Certified Local Government Grant. So there is a project advisory committee. Kevin is currently a member of that. If there is another commission member which would like to participate in that project, let me know. It would be great to have another HLPC member. That project is to do intensive level survey work in both the Pankaki and the Wilbur Avenue neighborhoods. The second grant is from the National Park Service. And that also has a project advisory committee that Kevin also has graciously offered to serve on. So we are looking for another member of this committee. If you are interested, please let me know. And that one is to further the research that is necessary to get the Pine Street African American burial grounds listed on both the state and National Register of Historic Places. It also involves some non-invasive archaeological work that we're hoping we can get an archaeologist in there to do some additional work there, and also to do some additional research on the African-American community. So
I would be interested in stepping forward on that one. I remember when we first the guy on Pine Street tried to put in a swimming pool and kicked this all open. So I would enjoy helping to do some of that research.
Okay, so I will be in touch with you then when meetings are coming up, and I'll get some information out to you then on that one. Anybody want to feel like if you want to work on the other one, let me know. Like I said, it would be nice, since these were both grants that were kind of initiated through the HLPC, to have some HLPC membership participation. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
For the HLPC, HAC.
Yes.
The application.
So moved.
Thank you, Robert. Do I hear a second from HLPC? Thank you, Hayes, for the second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Nettie?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Hayes?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Have a lovely evening, all, and talk to you soon.
Okay.
Okay, next item of business for the HAC is 585 Broadway, an application for the installation of a glass storefront door with signage. Andreas Washington applicant, Gary Tuma and Tim Sherrist owners. Do we have anybody representing? I see.
Andreas is here.
How you doing?
Good. Andreas, you could just tell us a little about what you're planning to do?
Should I screen share it or?
Yep, we got
I
it.
think Kyla has, right?
Andreas, is this the storefront we're talking about here?
Yeah, that's
Or is
what
it
I want
around
to
the
put
front?
Yeah,
Okay,
right
it's this
there
one.
on the door. And I want to
Okay.
put the signage on top where like the black glass is the darker glass.
Now, I don't have a picture of the signage. Do you have something for
Yeah.
that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I have the door.
Okay.
I'll just show everyone that, and then maybe Sue, if he can
Yep.
screen share signage. So you're talking about up here sign or in this
Like a
area?
banner, like going across it.
Okay. I'm gonna stop sharing mine, and then you. if you wanna
Okay, you're
show
set,
something.
Andreas, to share.
Okay. Yeah, it's not letting me do it.
Can you email it to Kyla and she can put it up?
Yes, I could.
You have her email address?
You have my email address, right?
Yes. Okay, I just sent it. Did it ever go through?
No, I didn't get it yet. I don't know if you want, Hayes, if you want to move on to the next item, and then Andreas, maybe if you can resend it.
We'll come
It
back.
might take a little bit.
No problem. So let's move to the next item of the agenda, then we'll come back to Andreas.
Okay, thank you.
That's 591 Broadway, an application for business identification signage. Robert Curry and Sherelle Hutchinson applicants. 591 building owner. Is anyone here? Robert or Sherelle, are you here? Is this something pretty simple, Sue, or?
I do have photos of this one if you want to take a look.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Oh, Kyla is, okay.
So that facade, the facade treatment with the vertical siding, that's already been done, right? That's not part of
Yes,
this.
that's existing.
The dimensions of that, the signage atop, is that fit with the design standard in terms of square footage?
I believe it does. I will have to check it. We can confirm that it conforms to the zoning, though.
Any commission members have comments or issues with this? I'm not crazy about it, I'll admit.
Yeah, the facade basically exists that way without the printing on it.
Yeah, I think the printing looks, somewhat amateurish almost. Anybody else have any issues, questions? But it fits code as far as you know, Sue?
I believe it does, but I will double check that with our zoning enforcement officer.
So is there a motion to declare this a type 2 action under seeker?
Dean Barnes, so moved.
We'll hear a second.
Second, Kevin.
Second, Kevin McAvoy. That motion's on the floor. Any debate on that? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Nettie Morano.
Aye.
Dana Marr.
Aye.
Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Do I hear a motion to approve the business identification signage for 591 Broadway as presented, pending confirmation by the planning department staff that it meets with code?
Motion?
Motion by Kevin McAvoy. Do I hear a second?
I'll second Nettie Morano.
Thank you, Nettie. Any debate on that? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Nettie Morano.
Aye.
Dana Marr.
Aye.
Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
So, Sue, as long as it's.
Okay.
Want to go back to 585? Have we figured out Andreas's?
Kyla, do you got it yet?
No, I didn't get it yet. I just emailed him and asked him to reply to my email with it. Maybe there's a problem.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it to work right now. I can't get it
Okay,
out.
so let's go to 693 Broadway.
693 Broadway is an application for installation of a freestanding neon sign. Light Bright Neon Studio LLC is the applicant. Radio Kingston is the owner. Jimmy, I see you're with us. And Matt, are you here to talk about this also?
I'm May, and Matt is here as well.
Right. Tell us a little about what you want to do.
Sure. So we are looking to install signage for Radio Kingston. And do you guys want to look at it, or have you guys already seen it?
We've seen it, but Kyla, can you put this up?
Sure. So the idea is to use the actual frame from the old radio tower itself, and build the sign around that. So kind of pulling from kind of like both the history of the radio signage and also its own physical history, and using the actual radio tower. That radio tower is like not in, it was brought down because it was aging. So we would actually be like, I didn't really render it out to show you very well, but it's like, it's like a triangle shape, and we would be supporting it on the inside. We would build out a frame inside of it, so that would be the actual support. So the old tower would really just be there as like a function of bringing that history into it. Unlike Scott's earlier comments, my rendering skills in 3-dimensional are not quite as great. But the signage would be on both sides of that triangle, and then the opposite side would have nothing on it. And the neon would be installed onto, it was a mill finish aluminum channel letters that would then get mounted onto just a black box that would house all of the wiring and the transformers. And they would all get installed on there.
Jimmy, did you want to add anything? Jimmy?
Hi, yeah, sure. If you go back a couple pictures, see that window to the left of the W?
Mhm.
That's where I'm sitting right now. And the sign would be right out this window just below me here, where you can see the Broadway Lights sign. You can see Ang's down there, and it would be just below us right here. That tower, by the way, the old pieces of the tower were taken down after 78 years of service. 78 years of Kingston came through that tower. And when we went to an FM signal and needed to put new equipment at the top, some of the structure just wasn't up to it. So we ended up replacing the entire tower, and we have those pieces. This sign kind of feels like a signpost to where we are here in Kingston. And I don't think it's out of character with what's around us here. And actually, I'm tempted to take you around this building because you approved this building, and the work that we did interior on restoring the bone steel house is this. I don't know if you can see that.
I'm curious why you're not including any, Radio Kingston branding on it.
Because Radio Kingston is the who we are. This is what we are. And traditionally, we just want to stick with the reference to WKNY because it's been part of this community coming up on 82 years. I
love it. I think it's very exciting, and kudos for doing something so creative and, readapting the tower piece. Do any other members of the commission have questions or concerns about this?
No, looks great.
It's really great. Do I hear a motion to declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act?
Dean Barnes, so moved.
Thank you, Dean. Do I hear a second on that?
Second, Kevin.
Second by Kevin. Thank you. Motion's on the floor. Any further debate on it? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Nettie Morano.
Aye.
Janet Marr,
Aye.
Dean Barnes,
Aye.
and Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Do I hear a motion to approve the plan for installation of a freestanding neon sign at 693 Broadway as presented?
Dean Barnes, so moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Mark.
Oh, go ahead.
Kevin seconds.
Okay, so I'll second it. Yeah, okay.
So that motion's on the floor. Any further debate? Hearing none on that, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Eddie Morano,
Aye.
Janet Marr,
Aye.
Dean Barnes,
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Going back to Andreas, are you still with us?
And we're good. I have the emails, so. Andreas, you're just gonna have to let me know which one, I'll put them up and you can just let me know which one you
Okay.
want to.
I meant the only
speak
thing the
about.
logo. The next one, because that was just like the layout. Well, that's the logo basically.
Is this
so-
right? Oh, okay,
I have like just a picture of the logo though that I sent to.
is it on?
No, it's like I sent like 3 different ones.
Okay, so I had this one. This one.
Yeah, that's
Is
fine.
this what you want? Okay.
Yeah, that's what the banner will be like at top. That's my logo. That's fine.
So as presented, this is just going to be, signage on the glass door and signage on those 2 windows flanking the glass door, right? I don't see anything above on the transom lights.
Yeah, they didn't actually do the banner that I wanted. They just did what I actually wanted to do, but I can't do that on the windows anymore. So I had to come up with a different scenario to do, and they never sent it to me. They never sent the banner to me.
So you don't want us to approve this design?
Yeah, that's the design, but I just wanted it in a banner, like at the top, not on the windows.
So it won't be in the 2 large window shops. It'll be that logo in each of the panes above.
Yes.
So you'll have it written 3 times.
I'm just gonna make it as long as I can across, but on the other side, not those 2 windows where the door is.
So are you saying that it's going to be like a vinyl type banner that hangs? Is that what you're thinking? Or are you saying window signage?
Yeah, I think it will hang. They didn't, I never got the exact one what they were gonna do. I just know I wanted to do the logo in the at the top for the banner on top of the windows.
Andreas, what is your time frame for doing this?
I got some of the window ones already. They're just hanging in the window though. They're not like on the window or on the outside. I wanted to get it done as soon as possible.
But so I'm confused. There is a limit on how much signage you can have in windows. So you're talking about signage in the glass door.
No, not in the glass door. Just I don't have a glass door. I just want to put a glass door there, a storefront door. It's a door like that white door right there, to the side, to the right.
Wait a second. I thought the facade was this one on the left.
Yeah, I am. That's where I want to put a glass door at. I'm not putting anything on the door. I just want to switch the door to a storefront aluminum door.
And then Kyla, just show us confirm where this.
So, and that, yeah, Andreas, so are you saying then that you'll have window signage in these windows and you're proposing a banner across the top?
Yes, I have easels and I have one sign that hangs down from the inside.
In the window. So you
Yeah.
have signs sitting on easels inside the window showing out?
The board. They're in the window, yes.
And then you're proposing a vinyl banner
Across
hanging
that.
across the front.
Yes.
So you're not saying you're not planning on doing the sticker signage anymore?
No, the landlord didn't approve it for like the decals. I have to do like easels or like posters from the inside or something like that.
Okay, the
And
vinyl banner would not be allowed by right. That would require, that's considered, banners are considered like temporary signage.
Okay.
So that, that's something that's only allowed like a coming soon kind of thing, like a 30-day thing. Anything that stays longer than that has to go for a variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals. I don't know how successful that would be in this case. I mean, you're certainly free to talk to the zoning enforcement officer. I would kind of steer away from that. I'm thinking.
I don't want to do I don't want to do that then. I'd rather just do whatever I'm allowed to do, but with that logo at the top. So whatever
Right.
something I can do on the brick or the glass, whatever you guys approve of.
So the black panels that we're looking at above the storefront windows, are they solid, are they painted glass? Are they a solid? I'm trying to determine, they don't look like glass to me. So I'm thinking there might be a black panel insert there.
I'm pretty sure it's glass
Okay.
or plastic, kind of like.
Yeah, I mean, I think lettering on them would be okay.
Okay.
You're like putting your logo in that one, inside that panel.
All right.
Is Timely working on that for you? I saw the other designs were by Timely.
Yes.
Okay.
I think I would be okay with what you were originally proposing, but it sounds like your landlord doesn't want you to put stuff in those windows.
Yeah, he doesn't want it on the window from the outside. He said he doesn't like decals or anything like that.
Okay.
So that's why I'm just trying to come up with like a different alternation of like what I can do.
The one, Kyle, if you can go to the one, he did have like a poster board, kind of sandwich board work up from Timely on one of the Timely spec sheets. Yeah, that one
Is it
right there, singles. That one's
this?
no, back.
Oh,
Right there. I think it's an ultra board. No, right there.
this.
Okay, so the
Oh, with
one on the
easel.
right, I think an ultra board with the easel back. I think is that the one, Andre, that you're looking at having made up and put like on an easel in the window, right?
Yeah, I already have an easel for that. Yes.
Okay. So that's 24 by 36, but that's inside the shop in
Yes,
the window. Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Everything I have is inside, like even like the poster. It's like on the window, but it's from the inside.
Well, if it's on an easel,
I have like a poster too, though, besides the easel, like that suction cupped onto the window.
Those are on the, those were another one that I saw. Go to the next one. No, not that one. Maybe the next. There was something I saw with the suction cups. Maybe you have to go back. Sorry.
It's like that in the window right there, but it's like suction.
Yeah, there was one I saw. It had the 4 designs there. I think,
Okay.
yeah, digitally printed banners with grommets and suction cups, the center 2. So those are what you have right now?
Yes.
I guess I mean, if you put that in your windows, the easel, you're not going to see the easel behind it.
There's like 4 windows. There's like one that like for people that's walking and then one for like people that's driving in the way. It's like a square, the window.
But these are the ones your landlord is not letting you do.
No, I just can't do decals. So I can't like actually like them put it on the window from the outside.
Well,
Or
they,
from the, whatever.
they do like a poly vinyl, like a
vinyl, yes. I just
then,
can't put that on the glass.
Then you suction cup those to the walls.
Yeah, it's just like a banner, poster, whatever.
But it's inside, it's not vinyl, it's a hard plastic or something, and it suctions.
You can roll it up, you can take it down.
It's a banner basically with suction cups that you would
literally
put
that right
on the
there.
inside of the window pane. But it's fairly large signage. That's what I'm trying to, I mean, that is much larger. I'm not sure that would meet zoning. That's my concern with the window signage.
Well, if it's also a vinyl thing that you can roll up, isn't it going to look kind of wrinkly and kind of temporary anyway, even if it's inside? I mean, I think that still gets us into the issue of having a temporary looking sign.
Not really. I'm just saying like I can take it down, but I have it out and it's like.
I think if it were on plexiglass or something non-flexible, it would look more professional, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's how I want to do it, but the landlord just doesn't allow that. I basically just wanted to put that logo on
on your window. I think,
but not even the window.
I think that would be much sharper and actually more professional looking than having
That's how I want to do it. Everybody on
the
Broadway.
banner inside. I mean, to me, that makes more, it's cleaner, neater.
Yes.
I think the banner is larger than what zoning would allow. We'll have to double check that, even if it's on the interior.
Well, Timely Signs told me that I just can't use more than 20% of all my windows. So that's why I was only using like 4 out of that whole side or 2, something like that. So like out of all those windows, you're just gonna use the white clear ones basically.
Well, your space is
the whole thing too. That's what he measured.
that,
like.
okay. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought your space was only the 1/2 of that frontage.
No, and the part on Broadway he measured too, which I have like another logo that I wanted to put in the front, like a different logo, like just like a sneaker in words.
Where is that going?
On the Broadway side, not the Cedar side. Like where the barbershop sign is, I want to like take that down. I actually sent Kyla the other one, my like other logo for a different business I want to do right there.
Is that part of this application?
I didn't really put it on. I just thought I would add it on with the banners, since like I want to apply for all signage for the whole building.
So are you proposing are you gonna have more than one business in this space? You're gonna have a business?
Yes, eventually. I just wanted to at least get it approved before.
So this is not coming, this one is in the future.
I'm working on it right now. So the sooner I get approved, then the sooner I can do the rest of the things I need to do.
So those windows on the Cedar Street side that are boarded up now, they're going to have clear glass?
It doesn't look like that no more, really. It looks, he did all the glass windows over. I think that's why he doesn't want any vinyl stickers or anything on it, he said, because he spent a lot of money on new windows. Like there's no wood board or anything on the Cedar Street side.
So if everything is on an easel in a
You see like those clear windows right there? That's like a little stage, I can, if you can say, like you see how those chairs are sitting right there? Yeah, so the easel is sitting on that little stage.
do we even have jurisdiction, Sue, if it's literally an easel sitting on a window stage with a sign on it?
No, that's what I'm saying, but what I thought was he was also putting in front, I mean, if he's putting the banners in there with the suction cups, the easels would be right behind there. That's what I'm not getting.
Oh no,
I
you
think
see like that inside window right there? Like you see how there's like one window, there's 4 windows right there. The 2
Right.
are inside. Yeah, like I have like only have 1 poster up. I don't have 2. And the easels are just gonna be like on the inside when people walk in, basically on those 2 inside windows.
But if it's not attached to the window and it's literally sitting on an easel on the stage.
I wasn't really gonna tell you about that. I just wanted to really just get approved for a banner.
It's a question. If it's sitting on an easel on a stage, is that even considered signage that we govern?
You don't have, not for the easels. I'm just thinking visually, you know, what it would look like.
That's almost like, you know, a store having a mannequin on the window stage. We don't control that.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to put like my logo either where the brick is, where that wire is, or on the top of that glass. I don't know how that would work. And whatever signage you guys would approve me of, I guess the banners is temporary. They did tell me that.
Right. See, I wouldn't want signage there. I mean, I don't have an issue with the using where the darker area is above the larger plate glass windows for signage.
But it sounds like the black area is clear glass now too, Andreas?
It is clear glass now, yes.
So it's all clear glass. So the landlord doesn't want them up there either, I would imagine.
Well, if it's just a banner, I just thought like he just didn't want like literally stickers, like how the decals like stick on your window. That's just what I thought he didn't want. I think everything else is fine.
Would you be willing to look at doing something that was just up here from the inside, you know, maybe with suction cups, or something that went from the inside but shown, you know, shows through to the outside, and then maybe just doing the easels down here? It would give the same appearance maybe of a sticker, but it wouldn't actually be stuck on the glass, rather than a banner across the whole front. You could do like 2 smaller, maybe on, you know,
I see what you mean. Like literally
some sort of hard material, and then kind of fix it on the inside of the window.
Yeah.
I mean, you could even do, you know, you could even do one here, 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 and here if the commission
Would the commission
is okay with that.
Would the commissioners be amenable to authorizing the planning department professional staff to figure out a solution with Andreas on this whole thing?
Yes.
Sue, is that's okay for us to do?
As long as we're talking about just the window area, not putting signage on the brick of the building or outside of, you know, outside of the window space.
Delegating authority to the planning department staff to authorize an appropriate signage plan for the building.
Not for the building, for the storefront.
For just this side, correct? Not
right.
I mean, the front side is going to be a different thing, I think, Andreas.
Yes, where the barbershop side was.
Well, the Broadway thing, that needs to come back to us. I'm saying we would delegate authority to the planning department staff to determine appropriate signage with the applicant for the Cedar Street storefront
Okay.
Sue, is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Do I hear a motion to declare this a type 2 action under seeker?
Eddie
Dean
Morano.
Barnes.
Oh, Dean.
Mr. Seeker.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second Nettie Morano.
Morano seconds. Nettie, you got to be on screen.
Oh, you know what? My battery was going out and it told me to turn it off. Let me see if I can do that.
That we can see.
Okay, wait. Am I up?
Yep.
Okay. All right,
All right.
I'm good.
It's on the floor. Any further debate on declaring this a type 2 action? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Nettie Morano,
Aye.
Janet Marr,
Aye.
Barnes,
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Do I hear a motion to delegate authority to the planning department staff to determine and approve an appropriate window signage program for the Cedar Street storefronts of 585 Broadway? Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Kevin. Do I hear a second?
Nettie Morano second.
Nettie Morano second. Thank you. That motion's on the floor. Any debate on that? And again, this is just Cedar Street. It's not anything brought back to us. All right. Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Nettie Morano,
Aye.
Janet Marr,
Aye.
Barnes,
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Anything else on the agenda, Sue?
No,
Yeah. Do I hear a
unless
motion?
anybody on the HAC wants to volunteer for CLG or our National Park Service grants, or you're more than welcome to.
Anybody else have anything to add? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Kevin
Kevin.
McAvoy, thank you. Do I hear a second?
Janet Marr, second.
Thank you, Janet. Any debate? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Nettie Morano,
Aye.
Marr,
Aye.
Barnes,
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Thank you, guys. We are adjourned. Thanks.
Okay, good night.
Thank you.
Aye.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.